dope, though.
Alright, motherfucker. Wanna try one? I don't even know what this shit is.
Ow!
So the way we start podcasts is spraying a bunch of spray.
Bra, bra, bra.
Oh, are you guys not taking photos? Okay, I don't really think I'm gonna put
That Russell didn't freak out about that at all.
Russell?
He's unimpressed.
What the fuck? Yeah. Alright, well, let's do a shot.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. Do you know what else sounds fun?
But
I don't know. I have a lot of ideas.
there are a lot of possibilities with that statement.
Cinda.
Yes.
So this is round 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you noticed, but I'm giving you the dick laugh.
Oh, yeah. I think, yeah.
The...
If you weren't, I was going to request it, so.
Well, Lindsay made me drink out of the dick glass once, and I just, it tasted different. I don't know. I don't like it.
Salty?
I think that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, shout out to Severo. We're drinking Fireball.
Oh.
So, his favorite whiskey, his favorite drink. Other than my cum.
What's the other one? The Jackfire? Why is that supposed to be better? Because it's a liqueur.
Because this is technically, from what I've heard, is not whiskey. It's a liqueur.
Okay, and a liqueur is not a real liquor. It's like candy shop liquor.
Yeah, it's like schnapps.
Okay.
So this is apparently schnapps. Cheers.
Okay.
The reason I purchased this tonight is because I'm poor and I wanted something drinkable that we didn't have to get chasers for. Remember when we drank that whole bottle of Fireball?
Oh my god, so fast! It was crazy. I didn't even feel that fucked up afterwards.
No.
It's the like most wild thing.
That's the
I
problem
was
with
like,
Fireball.
I was like, damn, we were like 2/3 into it, and I don't feel that drunk. I mean, I was just drunk. But
Yeah, I guess we would have been drunk, or I'm sure we were drunk. Do you know how like you feel more drunk? It's kind of almost like mushrooms. Like if you are around a lot of people or there's an energy high, you might feel more drunk. But if you're in nature and everything's
you like lean into whatever the vibe is.
Yeah,
you're just like, people are keeping it together, as am I.
You're like, I just drank a whole bottle of tequila and like none of the trees are moving.
No, maybe that's
maybe. I could be wrong.
Because sometimes I'll drink like a little fish and I won't have any like. I imagine myself, because as I can remember it, to be much more put together than other nights.
When you say put together,
I mean, like, I don't have wardrobe malfunctions. Those steps.
Oh yeah, that's rough. We just went to what's that thing that Lindsay does? I was gonna try to practice it on this one.
Okay. The segue, be like, so you start and be like, all right, so da da da.
Yeah, one of my problems in podcasting is I do just get very conversational, and then I just talk about things and don't clue anyone else who's listening on it. So the thing that we talked about was Lindsay does this really well.
Yeah.
And okay, now you start. I forget.
It's like in the middle of a story. If you're just like, if you guys are talking about something.
Oh. Turns back on. I might have to keep doing this. I'm not sure.
That's fine.
But okay.
Yeah. So when like if you guys are talking about maybe like a friend trip or something where I wasn't there, is like before I knew you guys, then she'll be like, oh well, let me give you a little background story on this, or like, so what happened before was, and just like a quick, you know, like like in Star Wars how they have the land, eons, light years, blah. It's like that, but just like a quick, like, like recap of moments you don't know.
Yes. I think it's like, let me show this one to you. I think maybe the secret sauce will be to, like, off that, is if you're treating the camera or the listener as a third friend that you just recently brought into
that is
like
a good
the
idea.
friend group.
Being like, all right, do you know? Yeah.
Because like me and you were
stranger.
Yeah. But like me and you were chatting.
Yeah.
We're like blah 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 blah, and I bring up Warm Lake. I'm like, dude, we were drinking Fireball. So I was like, so, and then I tell the friend.
Yeah.
And the friend is the listener. But I'm like, dude, we were at Warm Lake.
Yeah.
And that's how like I think that's how I have to treat. I guess the listener is like the third friend that you brought into the social group.
When you have like if we're both talking about the same thing, we're both trying to provide a backstory or foreground. Are we gonna look at the same camera, or is it gonna be like this?
Oh no, technically, your
who's
camera,
the person?
If you're talking, this is your camera.
Yeah. So either way, I guess it depends on which way you're looking. I'm still looking at the listener.
Yeah.
No matter where
but but that one I don't use that much. So the cell phone is the I use it sometimes for like if we're just like being really rowdy or there's a lot of back and forth. But typically if you're talking, you would talk to this one. And if I'm talking, I would talk to that one. And then when I'm editing, I clip it. So if I was talking to you and I'm like, so for backstory, blah, 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 and then I'm like talking to you, I'm talking to that and then to you.
In my hand, it was just like, this camera is the person. We should put like some type of
create this. What if we
wig on it?
What if we named our cameras other friends that we wished were here that didn't know our stories? So for example, if I labeled this camera like Paul or
that's cute.
Like, and then you'd be like, we would be talking a story, but like, so Paul, do you? You might actually start saying Paul.
I had this idea when one of my friends moved away that we were gonna just like get a bunch of her pictures on popsicle sticks, and then that was before editing was easily done on cell phones, and so I just like stick up the popsicle stick and like picture of her, and then but I only did like 3 blurry versions of that before the popsicle stick was like destroyed, and apparently.
Did you have like so you had a picture on a popsicle stick and
like a little finger puppet almost, and then when everybody was like, oh hey, group photo, whatever the camera guy person would be like, and then they'd be like in the group shot too. Like, that's you're so funny with this.
Would you like a mango or a grapefruit or a lime?
I would like a grapefruit this time, I think.
Dope.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have lime. So this is our second time trying, and I really do appreciate you.
Yeah, I was a little nervous the first one, so this is good.
It's kind of funny because I was like, dang it, I guess Cinda's gonna have to hang out with me again.
I hate that.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been hanging out with Cinda for like over a year.
Yeah.
So to make her hang out with me again for a second episode because I fucked up the first one.
Like now we have to hang out and sit at these chairs.
I know. We did not normally hang out in this room.
Yeah, it's nice. Let's kind of mix it up a bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab this pen. I'm gonna go slightly out of shot for a moment.
Oh yes. You know what I liked about this room last night was I was working at my computer, and then Jazz and Kiara just like came and sat down, and they were just like chilling while I'm working, and then we were all drinking together.
Yeah.
They were kind of doing their own thing over here, and it felt very cozy. I was like, oh, this is really nice. Like, I can still work over here, and like people feel like they're in the same energy.
You know what that reminds me of is in the kitchen when you have like the bar seats, at like the on the side of the like big countertop.
Yeah.
And there's some like whoever's cooking dinner and feeding everybody, they're like doing their thing. But then other people are just like, oh well, everybody else hasn't showed up to the dinner party yet, or people gather around the kitchen.
Yeah.
So then you're chatting while they're cooking. It's like that same. This is the kitchen's bar stools.
Yes.
Essentially.
That's actually a really good point, because if you were the person cooking and everyone else is in the living room, you feel isolated. You're like, what the fuck? Like, why is everybody over there?
Yeah.
It's not like, but like I gotta be doing this. But when people come around the island and sit there, even if they're not helping you cook, they're there, so then you feel like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm cooking, and they're just like...
It is part of the energy. You are participating in like the time, even if you're not helping with the task. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you feel way better about it.
Yeah.
And if I were to sit here by myself, I'm like, I have to work. But it feels a little bit like, I mean, I do work a lot by myself, but like when people are in the house and if everyone is in the living room and I'm just over here editing, I'm like, fuck this shit. Like, but if they're over here, I'm just like, beep, boop, boop, boop. And like, yeah. And I can chime in here and there. And it feels more like familial, or it feels more camaraderie.
Yeah. I feel like that's one thing that I do miss about roommates already. But I like have those friendships that I can just invite them over and be like, all right.
You only have like 100 friends, maybe 200 to call on.
I only like 200 of them. I was going to try to throw out an arbitrary number, and I was like, no, I like you all.
Okay, so this reminded me of when we were in the van. So when we went to Gem and Jam, for you... I gotta name this camera now. I'm like,
Cameron.
So Sylvia, we were in.
I'm off.
Damn it. So if I were, fuck, that's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna have to name this camera. I'm like, so Sylvia, when we were at Gem and Jam, but that reminded me of when we were driving back with Kevin and Heather. They're in the front seats, and I was sitting there like with you in the middle seats, and then everyone else was behind us, and I was like, yeah, Cinda has so many friends. I like 70% of them.
Yeah, and I was just like, what about the other 30%, bro? And they're like, yeah, I like 70% of them. And I'm just like, that's not bad.
Yeah, I like most of your friends.
Yeah, and I was like, you like 100% of them. Like, say it.
Well, and I
don't like any of my friends.
And you were like,
what if? I don't know why you wouldn't.
Like, there are some of my friends in this van. What if they feel left out in the 30%? I'm like, no, they're part of the 70.
No, that's not what I said. I counted the people in the van, in which there was Benicelli, Brenna, Braden. Was Braden in there? No, he's already gone. And so there was like, there was only 5 people that were not us. And so I don't know how to, what is 70% of 5?
It's not a... Say you had to leave off one.
I'm just saying.
You had to leave off one of those friends to make it. That would be 20, so that would be 80% if you left off one.
Yeah.
But that's not accurate, because if I'm taking a poll of 200 friends that you have...
This is why statistics don't work.
It is kind of true.
You have to see how big the test group is. You have to have
a big group to just be like, okay, I like 70% of those 200 people. But if you were to be in a situation where you're like, on New Year's Eve, when I'm with a bunch of your friends, I'm like, well, I like 90% of them.
Yeah.
So like in that van, I liked 100% of them.
Yeah.
But that's 5 people, but that happened to be 5 of the 70% that I liked. But then I also did caveat where I was just like, well, I didn't say I disliked the other 30.
Yeah, I'm like, weak, you don't like them.
I like 70%, and other 20% I'm like, meh.
I'm like, oh, it's 20 now. 100%.
And then the other 10%, I'm like, nope.
Hard pass.
Yeah. Obviously, those are like numbers that I really just pulled out of my ass at that time. Like, like it could be actually I like 73% of your friends if I were to actually.
No, I really like just to arbitrarily throw out numbers as well. It's nice to take offense.
Yeah.
I probably like about 70% of my friends too.
That's
just kidding.
It's 65.
The numbers don't look so good.
It's probably only 50.
No, 100%.
I have to, like, it is crazy that I saw somebody post on Facebook or some shit about, like, we only have one life. Why would you spend time with somebody who doesn't make you happy? And they were making like a more like a relationship post, But I was like, yeah, but that's kind of what, like, you should take that philosophy into friendships.
Yeah.
And most people actually do. Like, people actually don't, people are more forgiving of their relationship than they are of their friendships. Like, so if you have a friend that fucks you over 3 times, you're like, you're out. But if you have a partner that fucks you over 3 times, they're like, oh, well, he means well. And then you're like, dude, but like, would you let a friend do that to you?
But
like,
also, like, I think you're easier to forgive your friend for like a big bad than you are like your lover. Like, if your lover like does like whatever in your, you know,
I guess
whatever is declared, you'd be like, damn, that is too far. There's like, you know, there are some too fars, but with friends, because I guess there's like so many, like, there's limited amount of boundaries that like would actually give a fuck, maybe.
I guess I'm thinking about it because I was listening to this podcast about like abusive relationships today, and they were talking about how like, oh, like, they're talking about why you would stay in an abusive relationship. And I was like, I'm trying to understand, because it is very foreign to me, but I do understand that I have friends that do this.
Do you ever have bad, like, shitty friendships that don't serve you as much? Like, right now, I love all of your friends and how like good you guys are to each other. But have you not had a friend that just...
Yes, but like, if what they were saying was, sometimes my boyfriend hits me, and then other days he's really nice to me. And I was like, okay, so like, how often this is happening? So like, in my mind, and I don't know the situation there, it was like on a podcast, and I was like, okay, so he hits you 3 days a week, but the other 4 days are really good.
Yeah.
And I was like,
the percentages are swaying in the right direction, at least.
And I was like, I've never had a friend where I'm like, 3 out of 10 times he hits me, or he like talks shit about me, or he lies about me, but the other 7 he's cool. Like, that is a person I've never...
everybody gets the one-offs.
But I would never, I would give them a one-off, but I would never give them like
as long as you're like,
right?
you know, like,
but when you're in like a toxic relationship, they just like forgive it over and over. I was like, dude, I don't get it.
I wanted in my head to be like, narcissists do that, but it's such a fucking buzzword that I will refrain this sentence. But that is like 2 different...
Buzzword, or...
Narcissist. Yeah, narcissist is a buzzword. But I feel like there's 2 different like forms of loving, which is consistency, where you're just like, oh, I'm dependable. I'm someone that you can rely on. I'm your homie. I have like, you know, valid thoughts to share. And then there's people that are like, love bombs, breadcrumbs, you know?
Yeah.
And like,
that was what they were explaining, was the addictive nature.
Yeah, they withhold their love, and then they pour it on so thick, and so then you're validated and you feel like you need it, and then they like, you know.
I do need to say caveat that this podcast is all about buzzwords, because we're trying to get like clickbaity stuff.
We're gonna go through manifest, we're gonna go through meta, we're gonna go through simp, because
so definitely narcissist. So if you can drop that like a couple times.
No.
Yes. Actually, I probably should do this. It seems silly to me now, but it probably does help for shareable items. But I was talking to Cameron yesterday, because he was going on a podcast, and he was like, yeah, they're like hitting me up with all these like questions to be prepared for this podcast. And I was like, that doesn't sound like me at all, but like, my podcast is very
it's a different vibe. It's just like,
I finally got a whiteboard.
Yeah, yours is conversational and like off the cuff.
But they were like, think of 1 or 2 juicy stories to tell about, and then in a specific
That's
subject.
More like nighttime talk show, when they're just like, all right, come out here. I don't know how you doing. I love your dress. Blah 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 blah. Let me tell you this funny anecdote.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not like, well, that was weird portrayal, but there's different styles. Yeah. It's not all of it, you know. It is like, you know.
Yeah.
But.
And then he was like, well, you know, like, what kind of juicy stories? They're like, basically, we need some really good clickbaity material to like make this pop off. And I was just like, damn, it's like a very aggressively, like, we're trying to get the most clickbaity content ever. And maybe that, I don't know.
That worked for MTV and like all of their dating shows. Like, that's been a pretty popular recipe.
Maybe I should learn from
like
that.
Scripted reality shows. That's like their bread and butter.
You're a narcissist. Did you see Russell?
I was a narcissist, but then I got woke.
Woke people suck. You gotta
go to sleep, sheeple. Go back to sleep.
Fucking sheeple.
Go to sleep, sheeple.
Dude, that's what I have to start doing is like having these catchphrases, so that way like I know when it's about to clip and I'm like narcissist.
Don't you hate it when you hear just like a really snappy comeback or just like a good like drop the mic type of statement, and then you're like, damn, I'm gonna try to remember that, save it in my back pocket, and then if I do remember it, it's gonna slay the room. And then like it'll be next Tuesday and I'm in the shower and I'm like, damn it. That would have been great. Like,
there's a do you ever read Calvin and Hobbes?
Yeah.
So Calvin and Hobbes actually did something similar to that, where there's the bully that always beat him up, and he beats him up and he's just like fucking loser, and he kicks him, and then like he's like licking his wounds, and it's the evening later and he thinks to himself something that he should have said to the bully, and he's like, well, that would have worked really nicely like 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
And it rings so true for everyone. You're like, oh, if only I would have thought of that in the moment.
Right.
And they're like, well, I'll remember it for next time that some bully kicks my ass.
Right. There's a lot of people that will either like I feel like you're either someone who stresses out about a lot what you're going to say,
Yeah.
and then you stutter out and it gets like really escalated. Or then you like kind of clam up and then you're like, well, I don't really want to say too much, and so I'll just say this much. And then afterwards you're like, no, I can't say much more. Like,
No.
There were my words.
What if you were a person? Oh, this isn't something I could try. You have to like, this is more of like a bit where you have to fuck with society, where you have like what if you have like a little, it's like a notepad, but you know the ones you flip over that has a little
spiral pads? Yeah.
They're
like the little detective notepads.
Yeah, so you have that, and you have it in your back pocket, and you have it filled out with like 20 funny things to say in like random situations. And so but like you do it all serious. So like when you're in a friend group and people are like, yeah, you have a Josh, blah, blah, and you're just like, yeah, but what about? And you put it back in your pocket, and they're like, what was that? You're like, nothing.
And she just like had like you interjected like super. It was just like, and well, you know when I
and also you only knew
your mother.
Or there was like a scene where people were talking, and you had one, and it just like flashed to you, and you were just like. And you put it back in, you're like, your mother.
Dude, I had a buddy that used to explain all of his jokes, and someone was just like, yeah, I got it. That's why I laughed. And he'd be like, no, it's like part of the shtick, you know? Like, it makes it funnier. And it really did. He'd be like, it's a joke because your mother isn't a dirty whore.
There is something to that.
Yeah.
We talked about that Gem and Jam, where I forget. It was similar, but we were talking about how Family Guy does this. Where if you just repeat it over and over, it eventually becomes funny.
Yeah.
And that's like, the whole, for anyone who doesn't watch Family Guy, like falls on his knee and then he's just like, and that's not funny. And then he just keeps doing it. And
you do it 37 times.
And then eventually you're just like, dude.
It's a classic meme.
Well, then
it's a classic meme.
You also have people that like utterly hate that. They're like, fuck this shit, like this is annoying. But then there's people like me who's like, now I find it funny.
You're like, do I just laugh in uncomfortable situations and don't have good control over my emotions, or is this funny now?
Yeah,
maybe we just feel awkward on the inside.
I think so. Well, my old roommate Chris, I've told you about Chris many times. We used to talk about our taste in humor and how it was like elevated above the rest of people. We're like, we have a more refined sense of humor. and we would, and I don't know exactly how it probably started as a joke, or it might have not started as a joke, but then we would be watching some of the dumbest shit. Or like, the reason why people don't get it is because they're not smart enough to get that they're pretending to be dumb to be smart. And then we would be like, see, we're so smart, we get their dumb jokes.
Yeah, I used to be like that too. I'd be like, well, I just really like it when people, like, everyone's just like, oh my God, this is just a fart joke. And I'm like, you don't get it. Like, the subtle, like, cleverness, or just like, you're not paying attention enough if you don't get the dialogue. But I'm like, if you can't say, but I still believe that if you can't say something smart, dumb, or just something dumb, like sounding smart, then you're not really that intelligent.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to humor, I'm pretty generic. Like, I like really stupid humor, and I like really smart humor, and I like most things in between.
No.
But I still end up being a contrarian, and if everyone likes a certain humor, I'll refuse it for a while. Like, for example, like Letterkenny. Everyone liked it, and I'm like, fuck off, I don't like that.
Never liked I can't think of his Dane Cook that much. Like,
I never was into Dane.
I'm just like, you're just yelling a lot. You're just like the bro version of Jay Leno.
Isn't Jay Leno gay?
I don't know. My mom had like a weird obsession with this night show. Not a weird one. As did a lot of
his night show or the Tonight Show.
Wasn't it like?
They should have called it his night show.
His night show. You should really watch it when
his night show with Jay Leno.
Like, yeah.
Can you do a Jay Leno impression?
That's also my Nixon, but I do this with my fingers.
You didn't say anything.
But they're just like,
did you hear about this? Did you hear about this? Like that's about.
I feel like that's after his punchline, though. That's what he looked like. It was like, oh, something not that funny in a loud voice.
Yeah, I'm actually terrible with impressions unless I've practiced them a lot, and I've never practiced Jay Leno.
That makes me think about every impression that I've ever heard you do, and just like, I wonder how many times you practice this.
Dude, the ones that I'm good at, I practice all the time, and it wasn't because I was trying to.
Did you practice Robbie a lot?
Yeah.
Our friend Robbie.
No. Yeah.
He does a really good one.
Robbie, when you get on the podcast, we're just gonna go back and forth with your voice. No, I'm not gonna do that. Maybe one.
You guys should try to do impersonations of each other the entire podcast. That would be funny.
I do enjoy when people try to do it. Like, do you remember that night me, you, Jazz, and Kiara did ketamine when we came back from Trinity?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I remember parts of it, and I don't remember parts of it. We got super fucked up, but there was a part of it where we like all decided to impersonate each other, and it started out with we were trying to impersonate your dancing, and Kiara was trying to do it. I was like, that is not even close. And then Jazz tried. I was like, get the fuck out of here. And I got up and I did it, and they were like, oh shit, that was pretty good. And then when it morphed into, so then we just started to like pretend like, okay, so we want Kiara to represent that, and it was so funny to hear like, because like when Jazz pretended to be me, she would like come into the kitchen and leave all the cabinets open.
I forgot about that. That was really funny.
I'm Josh, and like poop, 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 poop. I was like, that is the one thing that's recognizable about me to you. Cabinets open.
It's what you had to work with. That was like the the backdrop or whatever.
I know. I was like, yeah, that's pretty funny. But those kind of things are really funny to me. So like in a friend group, if you could all be like, how are you going to represent them? That's a fun game to do.
Yeah.
Like a fucked up night.
Yeah. It's like kind of like roasty but more playful, and
Yeah.
it's like more participatory.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I could.
Do you think you would ever be roasted on a birthday or anything like that?
I've never had the desire per se,
Right.
but if I had a friend group who liked it, I would. I don't think that I would have an issue with it. We used to, actually, that's the thing that, another thing, Chris, my old roommate, he would say that he wanted it for a birthday. And me and my roommate Ray were like, no, you do not.
Yeah.
Like, no, you are going to go, like, you're probably going to take too many mushrooms, first off, because it's your birthday. And then you're going to get roasted, and you're going to realize all of the things that you feel about yourself, that you hate about yourself, and you're going to go out and be angry at the world and run off to the woods and maybe freeze to death. Like, it's not going to be a good scenario, Chris.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to do that. I don't think that any of his friends would ever do it, like, because they know that he would not.
He's a little sensitive.
Yeah.
And you'd be like,
but he's always like, no, I really want it. I can handle it. Like, no, you cannot.
Yeah, there's like a lot of those like truly sensitive people that I feel like they just want to be the like center of attention and be like ribbed on and be like, oh, that camaraderie, and be like, oh, I don't know, they want jokes to be like, your dick's just too big.
They're gonna get me.
You know, something like that.
Chris is always just too loving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it could be fun. I don't know. I've never been into roasting that much, but I do enjoy like all the roast battles that I watch, and I like the camaraderie of like a lot of those friend groups that do it, like James Franco, and you know, like say it's like that group, they have that the roast of James Franco, and it's all his friends. That does seem very fun.
Because then it's also like clowning on the other people that are roasting.
Yeah, like everyone's. It's not just all in one.
Yeah, they like they spread it out to everybody that's like participating.
Maybe I'll do it for 40. I have 3 years.
That's what I see. I'm like, maybe that would be
I've thought a lot about, especially with podcasting and like putting yourself out there. It's like I think I know most of the things that people would make fun of me for. I probably don't know them all, but like I'm pretty like it comes with being a vulnerable human being. Like I'm putting all my shit out there like constantly. So I do know like when I'm like really egotistical, I'm like, oh, I'm Josh, I like attention. They're like ding 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 ding. Like I'm like, I can laugh at that.
I never know.
Oh, I'm Josh and I like to fuck a bunch of like bitches. Like I get like I'm like, yeah, like I can't keep my dick in my pants. Like and I'm like, I'm waiting for like I'm sure there's gonna be 1 or 2 that like sting. But I still like I think that almost all of those jokes I've thought in my own head. Yeah. So like I don't think there's too much. I'm like, I'm Josh, I'm balding, and I try to hide it. I'm like, ah ha ha ha. I'm like, still pretty good with that one.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
I think that if people like really are comfortable with themselves, and that's the way, unless someone says something that just like, damn, you actually meant that. Because I feel like I would get hurt when I'd be like,
right.
Oh, you're like, actually like using this platform to tell me some stuff right now, and this is what they actually mean. They can't actually tell me, you know, just like in a regular conversation. I'd be like, oh fuck. Like, yeah, like if that would like trip me out, and I probably would still be a joke, but I would still think that, and then I would get my head in my that way, and I would be like, oh my god, they think this about me. You know?
Yeah. Like if Chris would have had one of those, I'd be, and I'm like, are you sure this is what you want, Chris? And then I would get up in front of all his friends like, I'm Chris. I pretend that I love everyone, but I fucked Josh's girlfriend and I fucked Alice's girlfriend.
You would use it as a platform to be like, all right, bitch, you asked.
Because so I'm getting out my anger.
Now you will find out.
Needs to be like,
roast stop.
No, I didn't. Yeah, exactly. You're right. Yeah, I would. Yeah. But I mean, that's also like, that's because you have friends around you that have animosity. So I do try to I think that really good friendships have cultivation where like, dude, like tell me when I'm being a dick, you know.
Really good groups, it's like there are friendships that are constant roast like that, and so you can address things with humor.
Yes.
And it's like a lot easier, I feel like, people to like actually listen. And so if you could do that in the kitchen and like when he like makes a joke, but not in front of a bunch of his peers, you don't want to single them out.
Do you know that's why I like cheers.
Anyone. They don't sing me all either.
Well, this is why I like I've never been a comedian, like a professional comedian, but I like listening to Rogan and Schultz and just some of the other comedians that I listen to and hearing about their come up days. Hearing about like the decades of sitting in the comedy clubs, like they say everything. Like they will pick at anything and everything about your personality, and it either makes or breaks you. So like if you are a comedian trying and you fail in front of all of this like fuckery, you'll never make it. But that means you'll never make it in front of a crowd, etc. So it's just all like this building lesson.
Does that mean like a coaching, like an appraisal / coaching, when you're like, okay, so I'm gonna see your set, and then you ask me for my notes, and so I'm gonna give them brutal notes? No. Or just in general, they're like, this guy's fucking garbage.
Yeah. So it's not about the actual set; it's about the hangout. So when they're hanging out, so what's his name? A little black dude. I read his book.
Same with the chest.
Fuck. I do this every podcast.
Gosh,
I'm trying to think about somebody. It's like besties with the Rock.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. He's in Jumanji.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna think about it and I'm gonna talk about it anyway, so I don't just sit here with dead air. But he was talking about his come up and like his star, and then he started hanging with these like greater circles, and he remembered getting invited into like, oh, Cat Stevens is over here and his gang, and he was invited after a show to go hang out with them. And then as soon as he got to the table, he's like, it felt like middle school. I was like, bro, you fucking like, you so short, motherfucker, you don't even stuff like, or like, blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, what the fuck? And he like there was like, they started like dogging on him a little bit, but they're like dogging on everyone. Like they're just, and then he realized it was just, this is how like this whole group of friends were. Like, we're going to pick on each other in all of these like cutting, like sarcastic, witty ways. And if you can't hang with us, then you're out. If you can come in and hang with the circle and just have fun, let it roll off your shoulder, send one back.
Yeah, like, are you going to participate?
That's how you know that you've been brought into the club. It's not about like necessarily even the comedy.
Yeah.
So when he understood that, he's just like, oh, I can just like give it back like one of the guys. We're just fucking around. Like, we're just bros hanging around the table being like, you're a piece of shit, dude. I saw you the other day. Da 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 da. Blah blah blah. You're blah 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 blah. And like, you're just like zinging them back and forth. And they don't even have to be that funny, but like, no one is getting offended.
Yeah, everyone's just like laughing at each other and just like poking fun and just be like, "That's, you know, that's not true." Like,
that's what I love about like what I've learned from listening to all these comedians, and I do understand that from like my youth. Not that I ever got into stand-up comedy, but if you can take that, so like anytime that somebody makes fun of you, even if it hurts, be like, I do that.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you guys are right. Fuck off.
Yeah,
well, you know what you do? And then you just call them out, and you call them out on some bullshit, and they're like, yeah, fuck, you're right. You know, like, and we can all laugh about it, even though we know, like, yeah, I do that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll work on that tomorrow, but like, I'm not going to get offended.
Right.
Like, and that's the thing.
And it is like a good sign of good friendship when you can talk shit. Like, I only would do that to somebody that I'm very fond of. Yeah. Like, to someone that I just meet, I'm like just all, you know.
Yeah.
Puppy dog tails and rainbows or what have you.
Well, I would normally say, if I like you, I will make fun of you. If I don't like you, I won't.
I'll tease you. You know what I mean? It's like a shit talk and teasing.
And that's I think it's for a lot of like more comedic people. Like, if I like you, I will actually be willing to poke jabs at you. If I dislike you, I'm not gonna talk to you. Like, I'm just gonna be cold. Like, if I don't like you at all, I'll be like, I probably like spend like, cool, what's your name? Cool, like, I'm gonna go over here because I don't like you at all. Like, I'm not gonna like sit there and poke fun. Or I'll say it directly to your face. Like, no, actually, here's how I feel. Like,
if it's big enough deal, I'll be like, oh, I just like, you're not just my cup of tea, but you have something wrong. I'll be like, hey.
Yeah.
You're a dick. I don't know. But...
And there's not a lot of people I dislike. Anyway, but.
Yeah, I don't like to dislike people. Someone told me that they don't hate anyone. They nothing them when I was really young, and I took that to heart. They're like,
they nothing them.
They nothing them. So you like can love people, you can like them, you can be mad at people, and so you can feel feelings of hatred, but that's because you care so much about them, because you have you can't hate something that like, unless you had like some like weight like built up into them, you know, some stock.
Yeah.
And so if you really don't care about them, you don't like them, then they're just air in the room.
Yeah.
Like, you like see through them. Like, they don't exist in your world, because why would you be bothered by them? And so instead of hating anything that you just really can't get through, then you should nothing it, you know?
That's pretty good, actually. Are you able to if you go into a scenario, say you're with like 2 friends, and then there's 3 other people that you met at a bar or whatever, or in a group, and there's one guy that just is rubbing you the wrong way, are you able to do that pretty easily? Like, or does it take work? Like, do you have to remind yourself, I'm gonna nothing them?
So when we were at Gem and Jam, the reason why I kept on bringing up that guy that made me so uncomfortable, this person did not do anything at all, but he was suspect as fuck. Like, he was suspect as fuck. I was just like, dude, I don't know why. I've got predator vibes of shit. I don't like when you talk to me. I don't like when you talk to any of my friends.
Tell him what he did first.
Well,
describe it, or like it.
What do you mean? What did he do there?
Well, because
but
so he came like it was like this redhead dude, and he was just like dancing like super close to our like we had a group of like 6 or 7 people, and then he like came in aggressively hard to like Chally and Mari, and it was just like, hey, blah, 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 and like a really aggressive energy.
Yeah.
And then
he
was dancing around, and then he would just like come.
That was even after I was just like, I don't like this guy, and then he would just like kept on hanging around. I was just like, I don't like because eventually I went up to him when I was because they couldn't nothing him. Like I'm just like this guy's not leaving us alone. I have to address the situation clearly.
He was definitely hanging around for some reason or another.
Yeah, I think that all of his friends left him. He was pretty spun out on drugs, and there were a bunch of cute girls there. Like you know, but he was creepy about it. I'm just like, you know what would have been way better for you is to be like, hey, my friends are gone. I'm gonna put my stuff here. Do you mind? You look trustworthy. My name is blah da da da. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But he didn't do any of that. It was I don't know. I'm not made uncomfortable by like really any type of energy like that. But he did as fuck, so I just introduced myself.
Yeah.
He was like, my name's Travis. I do remember his name.
You were like, I was trying to nothing him, but I could not because he was so creepy.
So I had to address it, and so then I could nothing him. You have to say goodbye if you can't say do nothing. You have to have some type of closure with it, guys.
That's a really good philosophy.
Yeah. I just said, hi, my name is Cinda. I'm like, are you okay? My name is Cinda. I just wanted to see like how you were doing. And he was like, yeah, I'm doing well. I'm like, well, I'm glad you're doing good. Have a good night. And it like
so you're not the creep I mean, you're not the only person that brought that up.
He was so weird.
Kevin brought it up the next day and like to Benny, they were talking about him.
I'm like, what?
And Benny was like,
so much. I'm like, this guy.
No. I don't think so because
he was fucking.
Well, so you had brought it up.
Not good vibes.
I had already noticed him, but like when you had told me, I mean, this was over the course of what, an hour and a half. You know, like this guy's like energy is like in and out, like trying to like hang out. And you brought it up early, and as soon as you brought it up, you're like, I feel like I'm being a dick.
He was talking to other girls like in the room, and I would just.
But you were like, I don't have any reason to feel this way, but I feel this way, and I was like, I got an off sense from him, and then once you brought it up, and we went back inside. Then I got a way more aggressive sense from him. And I was like, oh, no, this guy is or like there's something off. He's like, his energy is weird and he's like pushing himself like, into like situations. Yeah. And the next day when like Kevin and Benny were talking about, Benny was just like, oh no, I had my eye on him. Like I was not okay with I was watching him like a hawk, like making sure that like everyone was good because he was being like really weird.
Predatory. He was being so it's like I don't know if you want like you think that you're just gonna like hype all of our stuff when we're walking away. I don't know if you think that you're just like gonna like there's not really a lot of theft because it's really hard to steal in front of people in front of so many like and it's not the community that's that and then also there's like but there's like like girls want to always just be like whistleblower.
My guess is there was a bunch of cute girls that he's trying to like.
Yeah, but I'm just like, which is fine. There were a ton of thirsty ass people there. Yeah. There were a ton of thirsty ass people there, and that was fine.
Yeah.
He was the one.
Being thirsty is fine.
In a 50,000 person festival, he was the only creep. Yeah. Like literally, he was the only one that I got bad vibes.
That's actually a really good festival promo. We had 50,000 people and only one creep.
That's not so bad.
Yeah. Most festivals have 50,000 people and 5,000 creeps.
Yeah, they kept their creep number low.
The person to creep ratio is really good. Yeah.
That's a fact actually. You like
I've been a creep sometimes, but I wasn't in that festival. I was pretty mellow.
Yeah. They were thirsty.
I was fighting off those creeps.
Yeah. Creep, just one. Just to one.
You gotta bring your own creeps to fight the creeps.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No.
I don't know how that works out. They probably just like meld together and then like ultra creep everyone.
They just like form this Megatron creep.
Wait, you're trying to get hot girls too in a creepy way? Let's join forces.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, is that
look at Russell. That's actually what it doesn't have at every podcast, but during Katie's, he was just all rolling around, and there's just like certain video like segments where he's just so cute.
You should have like little Russell in the same, like, you know,
I know.
in the mix.
He needs his own podcast.
It would be like the many faces of Russell when he's just like, yeah, I love you so much, I'm gonna poop your face. And they're like,
I gotta pee.
okay.
I'll take a break.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
What is that? What is exactly like that? It's just like when it's not clean sound, so those like circuits aren't like, they're like hitting too much, like breakage in the sound area.
I actually have no idea. When it comes to frequencies.
Yeah.
So,
I like know that it works and like why it works, like what is a like this is clean sound, but I don't know how to get it that way. I'm like, you know.
Oh, well, so
thank you, Mr. Scientist, for figuring this out for me.
Well, there's some differences. So you are very attuned to speaker sound, like where the highest of the the highest of the high, like
all hail the low end. Just kidding.
Okay.
You're not all hail.
So, for example, if you were to go to like the festival of your choice, that you can have the best speakers here, and you were saying that you can stand up front.
You can like have conversations next to it, and like you'll be able to still be able to hear it because those are going to be like the sound waves that are next to you.
Still goes out to everyone.
Yeah.
So those exist.
Yeah. I mean, like,
okay, so how much do you think those cost?
$20,000.
Okay. Yeah.
Like as far as like huge like setups, like I don't know, like up to I have no idea actually.
And I don't understand how you
can median like where the low end is.
Almost every
like the medium.
Obviously, almost every show I've ever been to, if you go up to the speaker, for the most part, I can't hear you because the speaker's here, right?
Yes.
But you were saying that there are sometimes you actually can.
No. There's during those times that you can't hear me, I'm usually pointed this direction and asking questions because I like to do that and like walk away.
No,
like
no, I'm talking about when you go like if the speaker is here,
yeah,
like an actual like for a show, you know, like
yeah.
for the festival,
and it's
you know,
also,
like there's the speakers right there. If you're right here, like they're blasting out sound to everyone. Some setups, you're like, this is fucked. There's no, and then you'll be in other setups. You're like, actually, this is crazy that I can hear you.
I don't know if like a better designed box makes up for like the like aesthetic sound quality like deficiencies. Like there's like some spaces are like this used to be a warehouse. It shouldn't be a concert house. Like concrete slab like walls and everything. And so you kind of have to like understand like where your like sound is going to be funneled into and where it's going to echo back and things like that. Yeah, and so then like so I don't know if like the higher the quality, they just built all those reverberations into its box already, so it just like it's like nonsense noise and goes back into itself, or it just doesn't put it out. But
I'm not sure, but there is
enjoy that shit.
Yes, there is definitely a difference between like a low level speaker that just pumps out a ton of noise and a high level speaker that is able to, like, I don't know what the engineers did, but they figured out a way to create separations of frequencies and like mitigate stuff. And then they created a box that helps, you know, and then obviously you have to figure out the room that you're in, etc. Blah, blah, blah.
I can only really reference the art of mastering because I like know so little about it. But they just like clean out there, like, nope, that doesn't do anything for the song. That's not intentional. That's not intentional. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. This
is like mastering.
Like when you when you master like a track from like, I don't know, someone will make it and then you're like, it was recorded with this microphone. They're just like, you know, not a studio. And then so they just like clean it up, or it is in a studio and it still needs to be cleaned up. And it's like, then you can balance it and be like, all right, so we'll bring in the mids higher, or like solo or guitar or whatever, you know.
I mean, I have worked with music for a very long time, like, I don't know, 15 years.
Yeah.
And I have learned a lot, and it still feels like I know nothing when it comes to soundscapes, you know, and And I've learned so much about like when I was mastering or like when I was mixing my own project, like getting the mids and whatever. But like and that like what I had learned is like you test it in all environments. And so that's what's the struggle if you're putting on a festival. Like, okay, so we have a warehouse. What is that? We have to understand how this is different than when we have out here.
So the speaker should be able to do whatever. Like the speaker should be able to go anywhere. But the sound tech is the language is the coder of that speaker almost or something. I don't know how to what metaphor to use, because like the speaker can be anything. Like a good speaker is just going to be capable of being everywhere.
Yes.
And then
need the best.
And then you're like, okay, so now we're in somewhere with this like height up ceilings or like these corners. We have trees.
So with mastering. Even when I was when I would be recording or trying to like finish a project, people would always I did a ton of research and you wanted the flattest equilibrium. Like you wanted this big speaker. Like you don't want a subwoofer. You're not trying to push the bass when you're trying to mix. Like you need all. Yes, but that's up to the engineer. Yes. Live, right?
Like they can pull that up anyways. Like it doesn't have to be like.
So you need it. You need all of the frequencies to be kind of equal, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so that they know what to do.
But then you also have you can't do it in the problem here you can't do it in a room like this. Like you need a bigger room. Like you can't have the reverberations. That's because it tricks your ear. So you need to have so typically. When you're mixing, you can't be listening and having some chintzy walls or cement or whatever. You need to have everything very even and calm. But you don't want the bounces.
Yeah.
You don't want bouncing noises. Because it fucks up how you're perceiving.
Yeah, that's noise pollution is I don't know. It makes people feel uncomfortable. Even at festival settings, if you can hear the stages and the speakers are pointed into each other instead of like this. I'm you can have the same stages here, but if you're like that, it's fucked. If you go like this, then it's great, you know.
But that's a different art too, because that's an art that I would never or I don't understand, because I'm only understanding listening to a song. But that's a different art, how to turn sounds and make sure that people aren't too exactly.
No.
It's wild.
Where is it going to funnel it to? Is it going to be the Red Rocks, the Mishawaka? There's the things like amphitheaters that go out like that, and so if you're going to be placed into that area, that one has to be speakers that way, and then everything else has to kind of ding off of that.
Those production companies that actually work with them have to I'm sure that there has to be a lot of thought that goes into you can't just be a band bringing in your own sound. They're no. We we understand sound in this area, or we understand. Yeah. So we have to do this.
I would assume that most of their shows would have some house instruments. I was looking at Steinman. Is that a really prestigious a Steinman or
Steinman?
Like
the keyboard? Steinman?
Pianos.
Steinman?
Yeah. Is that okay? So there was we were watching something last night, and I was that is a really beautiful piano. That piano costs more than all the homes that you will ever buy in your life. And I was yeah. Damn.
I wasn't sure if you were saying the same thing that I knew that was
a joke.
Piano.
Probably
but probably most people wouldn't recognize. Yeah, Steinman is a very very expensive piano brand.
Yeah. So yeah.
I think so. I was thinking so.
Yeah.
I would Google it right now, but I don't have my phone. No, yeah. No.
That's the ketamine. I don't know why. I when I watch this later.
We did some ketamine.
I will be oh yeah, that's how you started talking about pianos. Maybe I won't. There are a lot of connections and ends in my head that I don't actually play so loud. That was random. I'm not to me.
Not to me. So when it comes to sound, it's very interesting topic to me, because when I met you, I mean, I've known you a year and a half.
Yeah.
Ish. but you perceive like your view of sound was just different. Like you were like, I'm a self-proclaimed sound whore.
Yeah.
Like I go to the speaker, but you
days.
also like it's not that you just went like I don't picture you as a. If I were to think of All Hail the Low End, one of the thoughts I've always had is like growing up when I was in high school and my brother's Camaro and the rattly like.
Oh no.
Like I don't really.
He sounds the best sound.
I don't really like picture you as that. Like it's not like rattly like in a cage. Like you're like no, I like a big speaker with like.
That just supports
bass.
it. It gives the foundation of the entire like song. You know, like
right.
You have like a good bass line, then you know the entire vibe of the statement.
Yeah.
Of the noise, you know, you're just like, all right.
It's so crazy because this is a fascinating thing about like, I guess the way that I see you, and the disconnect because because I am such a muso. Like, I mean, I've played music my entire life, and I came up with all this stuff. And then you were like, you were churned into a different side of music, like frequencies and the way that like it makes you feel like the reverberations. I was tuned into if I can make blick, 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 or this, and like I'm not saying that we don't like meet in the middle, but when I first met you, you're like. I'm so into like
the
blah blah blah.
Yeah, bands and just like how I don't know, because the speakers support each instrument, whereas I feel like the speakers are supporting like the producer, and so it's just like there's like way more like it's just a different way to like view it and being like instead of being like this is a tool that's going to get my voice out there or my out there, then it's just like what's gonna make this sound the dopest. Like, but
yeah. Do you remember when I told you? Actually, this is pretty recently, and I don't agree with this anymore, but this was like kind of where I'm like didn't fill it up enough. So I said like. I studied like music and then I like got into songwriting. I told you, I think it was like a couple weeks ago. I would like to have a shot of Fireball.
Yeah, so it.
Cheers, my dear.
Put dicks out for the camera.
Dude, I don't even know what this is. This is like a little it's like a totem.
It looks like one of the Hawaiian. It's not like gosh.
It's like one of those things on the stick, like the is it a toad? Oh, what do you call that? It seems like it would be on that pole, like they would have that.
Yeah, no, this would be like a big round thing, like a huge, made out of stone, maybe.
Huh? We don't know what they're called, but I salute you.
Yeah.
So, there is this. Oh, I remember what I was saying. So, I was like studying music, and I think it was after I got back from Australia, actually. So I'd already been like diving into it headstrong, and then I was trying to like start a band, and like I was about to move out to the West Coast and try my hand at like being a rock star, right? So I was like, I had joined like a couple like songwriting groups or something, and there was this like statement that hit me. There was just like, a good song can be stripped down to just the lyric and either a guitar or a piano.
Oh, I
remember how we talked about this like maybe 2 weeks ago or a week ago, and that has always held with me. From
everything else is the extra, but like this,
and so I don't know if it doesn't matter where I learned it, but like that stuck with me, obviously, because I remember it over and over. And So I have always taken my music to that. And so when my first frustration with like electronic was just like, yeah, but can you sing it and play it on the guitar? And that like so then it was like my argumentation with a new version of a song.
Yeah.
But then like so for me now, I would sit like for me now, like as like I've listened to a lot of stuff, I was like, that was one person's opinion of how a good song is.
Yeah.
And I just was taught that. But like, does that mean that that is legit?
Legit for you during that time, you know?
Right. But
like, I always
but the evolution of music has always changed. So like, why would I like
so woke that we forget to have our personal opinions? But I do think that it's good to like actually like be flexible and grow, which is
it took me a long time. But like when you showed me some tracks, then I'm like, this shit is dope. And like, and then I'm like, and obviously like, dude, I mean, I have come so far in my appreciation of certain electronic like bands, DJs, whatever. But like when we were at Gem and Jam, and I was like, this shit is like the tits.
Yes, there's such good music there.
And if I were to like capture that moment and like take it down to what that guy said, I was like, can you do this on an acoustic guitar and a voice? No, but I don't. I'm like, no, fuck off. Like. Yes, sometimes that does work, but also this is something different. And I've learned to understand, like for example, like ancient tribal music. Like there was no hook and guitar. It was all rhythm. So like
that's like when it's like more like chanty, and it's like that's like why people I feel like side chances where
right. So I would say to that guy who taught me that, I was like, so is that not a good song? Like, and then he's like, no, that's not a good song. Like, is that not a good song when you just like,
it's
like
either
that's a fucking
like
great song. Like, I feel really good. Like, I'm like, it's getting me in my feels. I feel alive. Like, so I would argue
like
he had
running horses.
I would argue that sometimes he's right, and also, sometimes this is right.
Yeah.
Both and.
Both and works everywhere. Like literally everywhere.
Okay. So we have this thing. It's called both and I'm trying to spread it a lot. So
it's the best.
I was recently rethinking it because most times people will say, so should I do
this or that?
I'm either going to do this or that. Either this or that. So let's think of some examples. Like I
wanted to ask out cute person A, but hot human B showed up earlier, and so I just couldn't do anything. I'd be like, well, why didn't you just say like, hey, hot person B, I'm really excited to see you. Text hot person A.
Yeah.
I guess see you tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so one thing that
if Gary came over here, I would love to have A tomorrow.
Yeah. Gary V brought up one that I thought was really good.
I'd like to have my cake and eat it too and have pie on the side.
I really want to. I think I'm going to start tagging Gary V on my both and statements. Because I know he believes this, he just doesn't voice.
Oh, when it's like the either or, and he's just like, no, both. Yeah. Like I have, you sent me that one, and I was like, yes, Gary, you get it.
He'll be like, so in business, you should be, you can't be empathetic. You have to be solidified in how you feel. You have to be. I'm trying to think of the other side of empathetic. What's the opposite of empathetic? Fuck.
Rational. I don't know.
You're like, I have to be calculated. I have to be like cool and calculated over here. And he's like, yeah, but why don't you just be both? Why can't you be empathetic and also calculated? Or
it's like that idea of like brutal honesty, or like, oh, if you have to tell someone the truth and just like be straight up with them, then of course you're gonna have to be an asshole about it because you're calling them out. Like, no, you could just be like, ta-da. nice things.
Yeah.
You could do better in this. I know you can. Like, this is what I see. You know, there's like fucking truths don't have to be brutal. Brutal honesty.
Yeah.
Kind
it doesn't have to be
everything.
brutal honesty.
Yeah, and it's So
It could be kind honesty.
I went on a different tangent, but both and.
Yeah. We should write that down on the honesty thing. We'll do it next time.
Yeah. Look at fucking Russ. He's so cute.
Russell's it. So we had this.
He's such.
We had this really good idea.
But he's such a little honey bun when he wants to be.
You know what I like about getting really fucked up on podcasts is being fucked up on podcasts. But we had this idea last time or after, and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
So you put, because I love the freeform podcast, and it's so nice.
Yeah.
It's just so nice to just like chat, get fucked up. But then I'm like, dude, I forgot. Like, I really wanted to ask you about this thing, and you brought this up, and you're like, why don't we have like a whiteboard or some shit?
It's just like off in the distance.
Yes. So I literally got a whiteboard, and you guys can't see it, but it's over there, and it just has like 2 or 3 things. I'm like, dude, if we can bring this up sometime, it's so beneficial because I don't want to be a person that's just like,
yeah.
So the next question
just little points, especially with friends, because you have had such close homies on like your podcast, and just like it is such a like a free form conversational format where you can just get off on these just like tangents and just like, you know, I'll shoot the shit all day about nothing sometimes, but then there are like I love my people because they give me like, well, because they're funny and they make me laugh and they make me think and, you know, those things. But I like when, you know, like I value the conversations that I have with each one individually. And so I'm just like, so this is the conversation I love about you, like having with you the most. Like we talk about this so well. I feel like that the like duality of our opinions or like the support or whatever, it's the creme. Like, you know,
the creme de la creme.
Like that's when I feel like so when you can think about like that is a topic that we just like above all humans, I can just shoot this shit so hard with you.
Yes.
Like I can talk about that for days with you about this because I just know that you get it or that you don't, but you do get it in that you don't, and then you think that same but different, you know?
Same but different.
Yeah, it's like those people and those like. That's what I have. Like that's why I know words of affirmation or love languages. I don't know. I do these things whenever I feel like I'm quoting something like soft. I'm like I'm not being sarcastic. Air quote.
Are you quoting? Who's the
love languages are real?
Who's the love language guy? Do you know the author?
I read through his book.
Yeah, but you're just quoting him. That's actually legit. Like love language.
Yeah, if I did it with more respect, that would be legit.
Love languages. We actually do. I personally agree with love language.
No, they are a legit thing. Love languages are a legit thing. That's like a fucking.
You know what's funny about
actual, you and I, like, really good.
I noticed that both you and I hate on things that like we do.
Yeah, because I'm not like them though. I'm just doing it because it's right. They're not.
You're like
correct.
Metaphysical.
Probably, in fact.
Like you are like metaphysical, blah 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 blah. No, but I do love all this stuff. And then me, I'm like
tarot cards and crystals.
And me, I'm like hippies are bullshit. I'm like, but I don't use soap. And
I just love to talk about you just talk about speaking over things and just like talking like the secret all day.
Yeah. Also, I believe in the earth.
We are standing on this.
Yeah, we do that. We're just like, yeah, but those guys.
I don't know why. Is that like some childhood like deflection with with humor?
Do you know what I think it is?
Is that a humanities deflection with humor?
I think that there is an extreme example of it that I disagree with.
Yeah. Well, that's like.
And you do too.
Yeah.
Like, I think that we're like fighting against the extremes. We're
absolutely.
like, fuck that shit. Like,
and I've said that like Because like when anything, do you remember Jack Johnson's "Reduce, Reuse, Recycle"? When that was that Jack Johnson song. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
First off, I don't like Jack Johnson.
Well, okay, so you probably don't listen to that track, but also in, but in like the Gap, you would see like all these just like pro recycling like t-shirts, and at first I was just like, oh my god, why are we just like making this thing that should be standard trend? I'm like, because you have to make it the status quo. If you don't make it fucking trendy first, then it's never going to be adopted by the norm. And so I do highly appreciate, now I used to get really mad about what I call the heady bro blowback, and I'm air quoting myself.
Ooh. Okay, actually, this is good. Explain the heady bro blowback, because
like, bro, you seem like you're asleep. I can't even talk to you. You need to get your chakras aligned before you talk to me. Like, I don't know. It's people that
you gotta get your chakras aligned.
They're like, oh, this guy looks like a douche, and I'm up here geared up in my heady ass bullshit, and so I'm not going to give you the time of day to be able to discover who you are. That's the heady bro blowback to me, when people are just like so about like the buzzwords and just like, no. I'm like, yours, like, I love that you're buying into the franchise. I wish that you would look at the menu of what the nourishment or like this like fucking concept is feeding you, you know? And so, but
the menu.
Yeah, but then there's gonna be the wave and the drawback, and then it's normal, and I love
There's this thing that I love to do.
It's
so
annoying sometimes.
One of the things
that is annoying.
This is a really good conversation. One of the things that I love to do is your people.
That's why I just understood that. That was that with you when someone explained that show. Have you seen You People? You People? And I was just like, no. And they were like, oh, it's just like kind of, it's dumb, but it's edgy. And I didn't really get it, but I didn't understand like the racist. Just like, I can't even say that the way that they described to me recently.
You never understood You People?
I understand the statement "you people," but I thought that "you people" was I didn't get it as the title.
Yeah, no,
I didn't bridge that. Like,
it's
you people.
I have not watched the movie yet, but I will, because I fucking love Jonah Hill. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm pretty on board. Jonah Hill.
He is honestly like.
Dude, he's hilarious. I can't. I
watched the Superbad the other day, and I was like, it is like when I was watching that, I was just like, it is crazy. I just think about his like filmography from then on.
Yeah.
I'm just like, damn son, you fucking did it. You killed it.
Yeah, but dude, you know what's wild to me? I'm gonna tangent, and I might have missed my point already. But from Superbad, a lot of those kids that make it in movies are accidental. They grew up in high schools in the right county in LA. Like McLovin, or they had the parents in the, you know, like if you grow up in a certain county in the like right, if you're just in the Actors Guild, like so Jonah Hill and Seth Rogen, I'm not saying all of them, like I'm like generalizing, but they like a lot of them just like kind of grew up in a like artsy high schools, and they're like in that like LA area, and like, oh shit, like we're gonna like talent pool out of this stuff, and then some indie artists or like in like whatever. So Superbad, which brought up a bunch of them, was just like bringing up a bunch of high schoolers who were just in acting class, like, and they're just like, yeah, I want to like hang out and like big funny shit, and they just blow the fuck up. But I'm jealous of it because I'm like, well, I'm over here on the East Coast, like I don't get any of it, but I wish I was hanging out with you guys getting stoned.
It's not like the same statement, like that is like forever. That's like the West Coast and the East Coast mentality, but. I do like, I don't know, I feel like my high school had extracurriculars as well. It was,
Which high school?
Weezer. Weezer High School. But I mean, like we had our like clubs, and so every like high school has their clubs. It's just like depending on your environment, you're gonna just like have those. I'm like, clearly that was probably cooler than our business professionals of America or our crickets. I don't know. Like,
So
what else? Yeah,
it doesn't.
So
it doesn't always happen though. So for example,
we don't have one.
yes, there was actually there is a narrative that Malcolm Gladwell talks about, where it's like the environment shapes like who you are.
Yeah, your choices are limited on your options.
He talked about how Bill Gates, Steve Wozniak, and all those guys all were in the same area, and they had access to computers before everyone else in the nation, right? Like, so it's not that they were smarter than everyone. They were smart.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely, but they were given the opportunity. They were given the platform of like that raw resource.
And so if you were to take like the school system, say for example for like Jonah Hill and those guys, if you were to move that whole like lens over to not necessarily my area, because my area is really like there's no one. But it's say Philly, you know, like maybe it's like Philly, whatever, and there's like some artsy fartsy guys, there's some whatever, like there's some a little bit of talent, but there's just not a lot of like, when they were coming up, there wasn't a lot of movie directors trying to pick high schoolers out of that area, right?
That's not the,
There were still talented actors. They might make it further along down the way. They might go to Broadway or whatever, but like it took them so much more work. But these guys just got it from high school and they're like, click, 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 boom. Like they weren't even trying. Like most of these guys, they were picked up from high school and they're just like, oh yeah, I was just fucking around in high school and but because they were born in like this.
But then they weren't born into they were seeded into that. And so like a lot of
I don't want to hate on it because I think they're dope. Like I really do.
The West Coast vibe is all just about like the like flexing and like the vibe and the glam. And I feel like East Coast always try to like rep that like hardcore real shit, like I'm legit, and it really does like this conversation is another like fractal of that vibe, I feel like, because it's just like you know they were handpicked, but then anybody else that really wanted to make it had to like actually claw their way up or move out there and try to claw their way up, you know. They weren't just like being like, oh well, they weren't like, it's like puppy farm, like puppies, they're just like, okay, so we breed them and then we just like pick, there's so many cute, like, you know, we can take you. It's like that South Park episode when they start sacrificing like all the like celebrity, like with Britney Spears, like leave Britney alone.
Wait, what season was that?
It was Chris Crocker, but
because he.
But when they like they follow her and he's like Butters ends up being her like puppy dog or something, and then. Like all of her like animals who committed suicide and they I don't know, they suicide or like
dude, what season was that? I was like oh my god, I forgot about that. That's
and then they're like talking about who's a little Parent Trap girl.
Oh my god, dude, where did she go?
Where
did she go? Yeah, Parent Trap girl.
Mean Girls.
Holy shit! What's her name? She disappeared from like media completely now. Like
the last time I saw her, she was like drunk on her own yacht and just like singing along to her own like songs during like.
No, it is crazy.
Like I'm like, well.
Joe Rogan talks about
Lindsay Lohan.
Yes.
You know what, girl? I still party.
Yes. No, I do too.
I would too. We'd both party with you.
I would still.
Yeah.
Bro, this is one of the things that Joe Rogan talks about is like childhood stars.
You mean girl thick though.
What?
I was like sidebar. We like you mean girl thick though. I didn't say sidebar. I mean, you know, like really, I love skinny girls too, but I'm just like I'm not particular fan. I do like her mean girl thick.
Mean girl thick.
Yeah, she was like, and that's not even that thick, and he's like, you know.
Dude, what's the other girl that was the main mean girl?
Regina George, Rachel McAdams.
She is a star now. Yeah.
Dude, she's such a classic beauty, and I thought that she was like so tacky that one. It's like you did a really good job, and just being like very Barbie and just being like, oh, you're so pretty, but then you just like plastic it up and be like, oh, you're only because you're pretty because you're pretty because you should be pretty, and then in her later roles, you're like, actually, you're just a beautiful person.
Yeah. Well, she also recognized
like she has such a classic.
She was creating like she was not the character, you know, like, and she was able to like step outside and create different. Yeah. I don't know where Lindsay Lohan went, but that is a. Joe Rogan talked about how like when you, where is Lindsay Lohan? Did you remember when I sent you the Andrew Schultz? Like this is how you tease a podcast.
Oh yes.
So if I were to do it, I'd be like, but where is Lindsay Lohan? And all I need to do is freeze frame on that and then put some music and be like, yes. I'm definitely going to do it. Yeah. Definitely on this episode. Where's Lindsay Lohan? Lindsay Lohan? Does she have a high hand?
Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan. And Lindsay high hand. Lindsay right hand?
The word is popular.
Lindsay left hand?
Those were the other two actresses on The Parent Trap. It wasn't. They had to share the roles.
Lindsay left finger?
Yeah, everyone was like, oh my god, it's crazy. Try to leave it lost. But it was actually those right hand.
Yeah. Fuck. I had to go pee.
I actually do too.
Yes. Break!
Yeah.
I do like having conversations and then coming back in.
Yeah. And just having that flow. Yeah. You just hear from the distance and it's like you come up on like friends walking. Or like, oh, tripod name. You just came to cozy up with our conversation right now. Good to see you, friend.
Oh, welcome. Did you guys just come in on our podcast right now?
How are you doing?
We just took a pee break.
Yeah.
Okay, so
empty right now.
One of the things that it's so good. This is why I like ketamine. It gives you so many like intricate ideas. So when a couple comes together, like when they first start dating, it's like a snow globe. This is the idea that I just had. And you shake it like, so if you have a snow globe and it's like all the snow on the bottom, you turn it around, and you spin it over, and there's just a flurry of shit. So if you were to think about that, like how long does that last? 30 seconds? So if you were to think about that, multiply that by maybe 1,000. So that would be like a typical relationship. So the flurry.
They're talking about breadcrumbs and love bombs again.
No.
Okay.
No, this is different.
Okay. Sorry.
So.
You're telling me. I don't need to tell you what you're saying.
So, no, that's like the toxicity of relationships. That's a brilliant one. Not to get distracted. Okay, so if you were to think about, I mean, most people know this about relationships where, like, there's a honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
We get that. But, like, if you were to actually picture it like a snow globe, and you shake it, and there's all this flurry. Yeah. That is the excitement.
Yeah.
Right? So,
you're like butterfly in the sky.
Yeah.
I can go twice as high.
Yeah. But also, so not only the feelings, but the sex. Mm-hmm. So think about the sex.
Yeah.
The sex is so, obviously, like if you don't have good sex from the beginning, you should stop. I would say that always. Like if you can't have the good sex within the first 3, like, not for you. So let's get that out of the way. Do we all agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. After is it 3? Is it 4? Give him 5, but if it's not good by 5, abort. Cheers.
I would agree with that. Are you saying that like sometimes you what was it with the end of that? So with the snow globe. So you have to keep up like being shaken up with the flurries.
Oh,
Everything's on the
I didn't
ground.
get to the end yet.
I know. I'm trying to go back to that.
Oh yeah. So with the snow globe. So that was a caveat. If you don't have good sex from the start, give them like 5 chance. Like obviously the first one is never going to be great, but if you can't get it by 5,
fire.
I mean, with me it is. Duh. But obviously for most people, it takes 1, 2, 3 to get comfortable. Obviously, if you don't get that fire connection, physically, mentally, sexually, spiritually, like blah 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 blah,
yeah,
then that's probably not the one for you. Like you need to have like that spark, right? Like most people in all religions, like you want to connect with someone, right?
It's been said through many TikTok videos and in pseudo psychologists like self-helpy books that women can like decide within the first 30 seconds of meeting a man whether or not, maybe not positive would, there's always this one-offs, but they know if they won't. You know what I mean? And you know what? As I am a female, I have my own, field notes.
Field notes.
Field notes. And I came through. Takes about 30 seconds. And then I'm like, after 30 seconds, there's the maybe pile. There's a
maybe pile.
There's a maybe pile. And then there's a fuck now. And there's like different degrees of fuck now, but they're all fuck nows.
Yeah.
Like just like, no, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
There's like a fuck now.
But that's all within the first.
No fucks.
With all this within the first 3 fucks, right? 3 to 5 fucks.
And I'm saying within the first 30 seconds. So even that you got to that point.
Yeah.
Then you're like,
we're already past before you even fuck. Females know. You're saying that females.
Yeah, and then I feel like you get what you get, like expected. I don't know if you're just like self-prophesizing or whatever. You're just like, oh man, that guy's.
You know what's crazy? Okay.
Come online was kind of fucking weak. I bet his dick is too.
Dude, that's.
I don't know.
I have always heard this. Females know within the first 10 seconds they're gonna fuck or not.
I said 30. I would like there have been some people that were they just like, yeah, I'd smash. Or just like, yes, I'm definitely gonna think about that one. Like when our mutual friend, I don't know I do this either, that's not sarcastic either. Yeah.
But there are other people that you didn't know right away but you did fuck. Or you would, but that's more rare.
That is super rare.
Yeah. I've heard this all the time from a lot of females
I know, but I know almost always that it's not, and like it's like 90% out. I want on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
either you see it and you're gonna fuck or you don't. I've heard this a lot.
Yeah, I value and I like.
Okay.
Okay.
I
seek like the male like counterpart of like relationships, but like. I like much more women than I like men, but I am more straight.
So then, take that 10% of guys that you actually fuck.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 5%, whatever it is.
Or haven't like at least the maybe pile even.
Yeah, but it's the guys that you actually penetrate with.
Okay, never mind.
Like the sex pile.
No, never mind. I see what you're saying.
So, of that pile, you then have a couple opportunities to make or break that connection. So like maybe the first sex is awkward, maybe it's great, but if you can't figure it out by sex 3,
then it's gonna be like, nope, that's
right.
Yeah, you're tired now.
So that's what I mean. Like you're weeding it down. Like so you've already weeded it down already based on intuition. Mm-hmm. Like females do this. They've already weeded out like the big pool.
I really don't think that it's just females. Are you just satisfied just sticking your dick in anything that's just like cute, or do you want to have someone there too?
But I think that females are more in tune than guys are. So
I would like to think so as well, as I am one, but I'm not really sure. I think that is probably something that I don't know.
It might
We both
be
possess
men.
probably in like different
It
aptitudes.
might be
but
men too, but like I
think
do
that men
think that
also, I think that all humans.
I just think
like
that
the 5 attracts describes like that is literally like.
I just think that females have more options than men. So
yeah. So see, then we're like going back into that. Like, so it is that what I thought in my head. I didn't say a lot. So
yeah, I think that females have way more options than men do. So
not every female. And not all the options that she wants. So again, you're like, so your choices are limited on your options. So yes, there are all these options, but what if you like? So I have this weird, like, you know when you have those like traveler like plugins, like adapters, you're like, oh, you're like you go abroad quite often. I'm gonna give you this as a little Christmas present or what have you. It's like it has like all the like every like I don't know why they don't have a standard global electric socket. I'm like it's like the inch. This type of socket, we stand alone.
Yeah.
But there is a socket over here. I wasn't just referencing nothing.
Fuck you.
Audience. That is a socket. That is an American socket over here. In Germany, it would look different. You would need an adapter.
If I could show you this right now, I hate this one.
Fine.
I want to fuck it.
You should look at their little faces.
It is weird that there's no Americanized. Or it's weird there's no Americanized system for the world.
Yeah, I never talked about the colors you can be like that.
Fuck drugs. Academy. You were talking about oh shit, sockets. Damn it. Rats. We're gonna watch this later and think of how dumb we look.
Like that's was
no,
an accurate portrayal.
So here's the thing. I did think I had it in my head. I did not. Fuck.
I was like, what? Then he said, fuck.
I actually was going to tell you about something else too, and I can't remember either when we like sat down. So I'm happy to sit with this, and we'll just cut this out and
adaptions. And
so you were talking about how okay, let me think.
There were adaptions and be like, okay, so I have to be this person for that person. No. We're talking about our relationships?
Yeah, so it was relationship driven. God, it's crazy how floody your brain gets, you know.
Yeah.
Don't you worry. Like we can do.
I'm not worried.
I can do whatever the fuck I want. Like
yeah, I'm not worried. I feel like this is candid, if nothing else.
Yeah. Bro, this is what happens.
Yeah.
We need drugs.
What's
like,
up?
God damn it. No,
have you ever done ketamine?
I have been vulnerable multiple times on this podcast. And
that picture or that video that you showed me earlier today, it was, I forget who it was, or like those two people, but it was like a very like affluential, like older white male, just like being super vulnerable on camera, and then a strong like
Jordan Peterson.
Oh, that was Jordan Peterson. He looks different. He got old as fuck, dog.
No.
He got.
Yeah, see. Yeah,
he got old as shit.
You didn't know it was Jordan Peterson?
No, he looks so old. I guess I did. I guess I do now. I used to watch like a lot of his YouTube videos and everything.
He's not that much older? Oh shit, that makes me worried about myself. He's not Jordan Peterson. No, that is vulnerability.
I saw it like while I was in between.
No, it's okay.
Tests, but
No, dude, that's okay. He is old. It's not.
I've also only seen my like visual like what I come up with when I think about his name is also the book cover and it's not his like video like portion, and so I'm not sure what picture his book cover like was made in. But then like so maybe it's like when Johnny Knoxville's just like the last jackass. He's like everyone's just like, oh, Johnny got old, and he's like, yes, it's been 18 years, you assholes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or whatever.
No, it's exactly right.
Yeah.
We all age.
Yeah.
Like, but
thank you for this gift, age. You are a fucking dirty fucker.
But what I love, like that video, I have never seen him cry. Like, I've never seen him cry. That was the first video when I showed it to you, because I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson's crying.
And then the breakdown, and I don't think...
He doesn't do that. He doesn't do it on camera, ever. Like, I've never seen it. I've watched him for the last 3 years of my life. I've never seen him do it. And now I'm seeing him do it. I'm like, oh, shit.
No.
He is expressing a part of him that he has never let out on camera. That's impressive.
You know what I appreciate about your contrarian nature? Is that you root for the underdog in that.
Well, I love the underdog.
Yeah, I really feel that is
what happens when I'm not the
instead
underdog?
of having that like bitter, you know, salty like aspect to that thought, I think that's a really like endearing like way to like have that like actually manifest. Be like, yes, this is the same thing, but this is how to make it different instead of being, you know. You're like, no, not fuck everyone. Everyone's stupid and my way's the only way. Bro, like, what's up, Rudy? Rudy.
I do hate Rudy, though.
I don't like that movie. But I'm actually fuck Samwise. Samwise Gamgee. Gamgee.
No, Samwise. I love Samwise.
Honestly, he was a little bitch too. He was like such a little thug friend, but he just like was so fucking whiny the entire time that I couldn't even handle him.
Bro, did I ever tell you?
I like little Mary that he's like, you eat all your cake.
I saw Rudy. I saw Rudy. I saw that guy. I saw him in person, and I was like, dude.
Did he come up to hear you?
No. I don't really remember, but
I expected him to be really short. You already told me.
He was I was a little jaded, but he was just like he was making his tours on his movies, and I was like, bro, like do something like I don't know. It didn't feel right. Like it didn't sit well with me because he was just like, hey, like I'm this person. And he was like charging $5,000 a talk. And so he was like, hey, man, like, book me for $5,000.
Yeah.
And he's never, like,
hey, show your merit for $5,000 a talk.
Well, like, he hasn't built anything else. I'm not saying you shouldn't charge $5,000 for what you're doing, but...
I'm saying that $5,000 is a reasonable price to pay for whatever $5,000 worth of service is.
Like, he was, like, gassing out and still, like, trying to, like, run his circuit.
Yeah.
That's the version that I saw.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's... I don't know if I should be mad at that, but I was like, dude, that's not who I want to be. Like, I was like, dude, you... Like, I never watched your movie before... And now that I see you, I don't want to watch your movie. I do.
When you're... Yeah.
Sorry, Rudy.
Sorry, Rudy.
I love you. I'm sure you're great.
This like just.
But come on, man. Invest in crypto. Just kidding. It's so stupid.
Actually, Bitcoin's up, bitch.
To what?
I have no idea, but I only check every 3 months, and I'm like about even. I don't actually. Bitcoin is up though because I only check every.
What?
I only check every 2 months because I'm not moving everything and I get stressed out and then I'm like, no! And then I was like, I don't know enough to.
My phone because it's filming.
Yeah, I'll get my phone. Yeah.
Sorry,
I don't like
to. You on all the conversations. We also lost our other conversations, which is fine. This is what happens.
Yes, this
happens.
What happens.
Oh, you want me to look at the Bitcoin? Yeah, you keep talking out.
Oh, well, I could do that for you if you'd like.
No, actually, it's better if I do this. Because... Fuck. Maybe it's not.
Well, it was better for a bit. 2 months ago. Is it down from a year? Where is that?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
From a year. Because after the dive, everything's down.
I just want to know where it's at currently because I have not looked at all because I sold all mine. I was pissed. I'm pissed about all of it. Bitcoin price. Here we go. Oh shit. You're right. It said 23.
Yeah.
No. So when I sold,
I'm like, this is stuff that, like, this is like your 401k. They speak. One day you'll be glad that you have a Roth IRA. And like, I know that I like have
it all
like every 401k that I can, but I'm like, damn.
All of my
it's not usable resource. Then.
I hate myself and I love myself, but I hate myself because I got way too into it. But I got into the Bitcoin longevity, and I actually bought some Bitcoin at 10K, and I bought some at 19, and I bought some at 20, but I kept buying the whole way up. But so when it dropped down, but like I have learned, it's not beyond buying. I've learned a lot about it.
Yeah.
And of all of all of the cryptos, even when I sold everything, the Bitcoin I believe in.
Yeah.
And I told you, I told you this. I've told multiple people this. Even when I sold, I was like, I just can't afford right now. I need the money right now. That doesn't mean I don't believe in it.
But we're on the floor is having a floor, like, yeah, it's a good time.
So,
yes.
Bitcoin is a system that I do believe in. I'm not going to like ever make this podcast like about Bitcoin or anything, but it is like when I did sell was at 20K and then it went down to like 16. I was like, fuck, dude, I'm glad I sold then. But I should have sold it. I could have sold a 40. Yeah. Like, but hindsight's a bitch. Like you always.
But it's gonna be 16, maybe one. Who knows? Like so I put in such a small amount and such a superfluous amount that it doesn't really matter. But it was like, I don't know, that's a lot for me. And so I just like, well, that's something that I just wasn't like. After my mom died, I was just like, well, I can just put this. Same in this part. I'm like, I'm not gonna even like worry about it for another like 20 years. Like that's like my new Roth IRA. Like also like SSI is not going to be around anymore, and so I want to make sure that it's so much easier to die when you have some money is what I have found out working through geriatric care and just things like that. It is like a lot easier unless you have like a created a lifestyle where you have people that are your support system, then you're never gonna fucking survive. You should die in the house that you should live in the house that you're gonna die in.
Okay.
After a certain age, when you know you're getting to dying age, and like when we're all at dying age, who knows what's gonna happen? But when you're like 60, my hip is giving out, I have heart, like congenital heart, like blah blah, I have cancer. Yeah. You should be in the house that you're going to go in because it's just going to be way more comfortable. You're going to be able to maneuver around it easier, know the corners. If you get dementia, you're not going to have to like be in a strange place with nobody else to be like, say, like you're going to, like people with dementia, they get thrown into these crazy, isolated, completely new rooms. And then
if you were
no like triggers for their memory at all. So of course they're going to lose it like that. Goodbye person.
That's a very smart observation.
Like we need to be doing these things, and I'm like, make sure that I can make that happen for people while I'm here, and make it happen for myself before I'm gone.
So there's a couple things. You either have to create a safe environment, so you have that.
Yeah.
You have to create a community so they support you.
Yeah.
You have to, or you could not get dementia.
Saunas.
There's actually there's ways to counteract dementia.
More later.
I mean, I know that there's ways to do this.
Yeah,
do not get dementia, and if you think that you're gonna get dementia, Google it now when you're 20 and you can find all the ways to not get dementia.
My mom and my nana had the least amounts, and that was like the most heartbreaking thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's like,
But they didn't have Google when they were 30, so that is like I can never fault the people that have it now. Like,
but
you know what I mean? Like I can't fault my grandparents for getting it, but we have a lot of resources now. It is avoidable. I do believe this.
It's preventable. Like the deterioration is preventable. Like or like it's everyone's gonna rot.
Everyone's gonna die.
Everyone will rot and die.
That doesn't mean that everyone's gonna get dementia.
That doesn't mean that we're not going to live the same life. Like, you know, like our cells are gonna be like at different spots in our bodies at different times. It'd be like if we're gonna like make sure that they're powerful, they're like still sending the right signals, then you have to like create that by your tabletop, by your like activity, by your.
Do you remember when you told me about
supplements?
Do you remember when you told me about, was it the Dalai Lama or the like the monks that just
they're into
age and they're like the time and why that is?
When they just go like into like a seated rested form. Like there are like some monks that just like they'll like do brain scans and there's like very slight activity and it'll be like over the course of just like, I'm not sure what the metric of time is, but it is like crazy.
Yes.
It is just crazy.
So why is it that certain people are able to age with grace and then just let themselves go peacefully? And why is it that others of us are struggling with all these forms of disease?
Could I walk up a mountain if everybody gave me their weight? You know what I mean? Like some like choices built on opportunities. I just feel like also these monks are generally from more Aboriginal like people that are more keyed into the earth in general. I don't know what that thing was.
I think it's that one. I think it turns on again.
But they.
I think that there is something to be said.
The lifestyle is a lot to do with
Yes. Exactly.
I think that it's just like we, you know.
So if
it's not the culture, it's just like how you are. What is your lens? How do you see what? How you see is what you do.
I'm not saying that like
the language like framework thing. It's like that same idea. Like the lens is what you see. What you see is what you experience is how you are.
Yes. Just to make sure it's going. Yep. I'm not saying that I like that we're gonna figure it out right now, but I do. Cheers. Salud. I want to live a very long time, and that statement that you had made to me about certain spiritual leaders, especially in those communities, those people that have like kind of aged and then they just kind of like pass on. There's no disease, there's no dementia, there's no cancer, there's whatever.
There's not. Yeah, sometimes like so there's like people that have been in the demeditative state that I've talked about, and there's like start that just like libido being recreated. So I'm not really sure.
So what I would just argue is that people like these elderly characters that we know, like these spiritual characters, like that they were 90, they were 100, they're peaceful,
12.
and they just like let go, and then like there are those narratives. I think that is possible for the average person if you like. There's a lot of things that go into their lives, and I don't think it's necessarily like a spirituality, but like I think there's a lot of things. So like health, community, like there's literally studies on this, like the blue zones, right? Like so if you know about the blue zones, if they study the areas of the earth that have the longest living citizens, and they study what do they do, and it's not longevity. It's not just diet. it's like everything.
Like
And so
happiness index, like
yes,
like
but like
resources, like is like literally like alcohol
but it is a
campus.
lot diet, but it's like so what they found is it's a diet, like there is diet. Diet
Like
is
ancestral fucking genetic
no,
deficiencies, things
it's
like
not
they go
genetics. It's,
no, but they go through it like okay,
but it's like
but all of
community.
it is yeah.
It's community.
You're saying the answer is
It's like it's like
commensality.
actually. So I could be misinterpreting everything that's wrong. So like
I should.
I would just I would encourage everyone to research the blue zones. Actually, that's what I would encourage, because I probably am misinterpreting some of it. But there are like certain diets that factor into the blue zones, like the people that live the longest. But it's not just that; it's also like community, and then also what's the other thing I was thinking of? Fuck, there's like a few. I think that like I guess I'm keep going back to community, because like if you're lonely, you're gonna die early. If you have friends, you're gonna last longer.
Yeah. The Zest for Life, there is like there's the no emotional well-being. I'm not really sure. Like that's what like the index is, but it's like there's like the regrets of the dying. I wish that I spend more time with family rather than worrying how to support my family.
Yeah.
I wish that I had spent less time trying to be a good check these boxes on personhood and been a good friend.
Yeah.
You know, like
there's another thing that happens. There's a push-pull with like health and analytics where they just had this recent study where actually drinking helps you survive longer to a certain point.
As long as you're not using it, yeah.
If you drink as much as I do, it's bad. I drink too much. But if you drink enough to... If you don't drink any, you have a little bit more anxiety. You have a little bit more disconnect with family. So
you know what I like about alcohol? Social lubrication.
Yes.
Fucking
so
just like ease of times. Like there is like a letting go. Like the beer after work. That's not just that is a ceremony that has been proliferated far more than any in these in recent days than church has. The beer after fucking work is or the bowl or whatever that winding down ceremony is. Like that is like this is like in that aspect I do see it as clear fucking blue collar medicine. I love it.
So not only do you feel this, but this is actually like this has been starting to be proved by science where a little bit of alcohol is actually making people better over time. The problem is if you do too much, then it's worse, right? So there's like this sweet spot. You have to find that sweet spot, but like that sweet spot creates connection. This sweet spot, like if I have my friends over for drinks and I get fucked up with my friends, that builds community.
Exactly.
That community
like having camaraderie.
Longevity.
It's just like as long as you're like so it is like a when you're using alcohol as a healing agent, or you're using it like in like alchemy where you're like using essential oils and stuff and just trying to pull it out, like you can like leave that in there, like literally suck the essence out of a plant, you know, which is good. But and like that's the point. But then like there are some things that are just like there's plants that like take a little like longer. There's sometimes where there's only the healing properties will be like derived from like the first like a few like little bits with like heat plus like alcohol, you know. And so I do think that like as we are all sorry, but as we are all the same thing. But that is just like I'm like, well, why would I just like saturation is nice. Just like I like getting drunk. If you don't like getting drunk, I like to do things I like to do.
You like getting drunk?
I do.
No way.
Cheers.
Salute.
Cheers. But I also like doing a lot of other things, and I there's things that I don't like to do, and I don't do them anymore. And like I'm just like, oh well, I turned that off. That's not for me. And I feel like that's fine.
Yeah.
Yes, I just feel like that's. I don't know where I get in these tangents. Fucking kidding me.
Fucking.
Can I explain that? It's like 40 minutes later. That's probably done.
What?
Done. I meant. Now I'm gonna explain what the kind of mean.
Yeah. Well, we can wrap this up. I was gonna
Do you want to say something? Oh my gosh, you know what I really did like about like when Mari was just like, hey, so I like this the period that I have on my back. It's like it's the horse at it. And she was like, I love that statement. It's like, because it's dare to know. And I do feel that vibe when you're just like, oh, Mari's very, like, fly by the seat of your pants. And then she literally described herself as the same. And I was like, gonna be like, oh, God, we looked up where that actually, like, came from. And, like, the colloquialism was derived from such and such. But I didn't say that. I was like, you're fucking cute, turbo hot. And you know, that was the appropriate dialogue of the moment.
I don't.
Later, we'll see
I
how
don't
it
remember
is.
that.
She's so cute. I love her. But
It's cute.
gosh, I can't
I'm pretty
remember
like
the
that.
beginnings of my sentence. This,
Cinda.
we're just beginning this.
Are you fucked up?
I'm fucked up.
Me too.
I'm pretty fucked up.
Okay, so here's what I'll do.
Do you want to play a game of Slapjack to end this?
Should we do a speed round?
Do you want to do a Slapjack or
Yeah.
like this?
I'm
Should
pretty
we just,
open
like,
to
end it?
anything. What do you want?
Because we'll be like, right, whatever is like over under.
Wait,
So wait, what is the most awkward way? So because
I'm not
so
sure.
I have to take your hand like I'm trying to catch you this way. My hand trying to catch you this way. Where your hand trying to catch me?
I'll just go pee. Stay right there.
Nobody's